All right, today's lesson, we're going to talk about the International System of Units, the metric system, okay? And we'll compare it to the imperial system. Metric system or international system, that's what most of the globe uses. So most countries around the world would use the international system or the metric system. Here in Canada, we use the metric system. But I think it's probably because of our proximity to the States, we often cherry pick some units from the imperial system. Okay, like for example, if someone asked you how tall you were, what would you say? Like Ronan, what would you say? How tall are you? 6 feet, right? Okay, same here. I'd say 6 feet. Feet is a unit of measurement from the imperial system. If we were truly using the metric system, I'd say I'm 183 centimeters tall. Most people don't even know how tall they are in centimeters or meters, so 1.83 meters. Okay? If you went to Europe, they would say, like that at home, like what would you say? Would you say? Yeah, right, 122 or 130 centimeters, right? They use the international system. It's the states, the United States, that uses the imperial system. And the imperial system, it's to be honest with you, the numbers really don't make sense. The metric system, it's base 10. Okay, so to go from millimeters to centimeters to decimeters to meters and so on, you just go up the steps by a factor of 10, or you could come down by a factor of 10 as well. How else, like, what else? What's another, like, unit of measurement for weight? Pounds, right? Like in Canada here and in the United States, we measure height in feet and inches, and we measure our weight in pounds. But if you're truly using the international system, you would give your height in centimeters or meters, and you would give your weight in kilograms. Okay? So, imperial system, you're talking feet and inches for height. Do you know what they would use on the stove? Fahrenheit, degrees Fahrenheit. I won't even try and spell Fahrenheit. It'll be embarrassing and it'll be on the internet. Okay. How do you measure your weight in the imperial system? Pounds. Do you know how to abbreviate pounds? LBS. Do you know how to abbreviate feet? FT. What about inches? IN. That's right. Okay. Those are imperial measurements. Same thing with yards. Okay. When we talk about like the base unit under the metric system, the international system, we're talking about the meter. That's the base for length. And it could go millimeters, centimeters, decimeters, meters. And then you go hecta, deca, and kilometers. Under the imperial system, the base unit is the foot. Sometimes they could use these 2 quotation marks. That's for inches. 1 quotation mark for feet. So feet, you might see this, 1 quotation mark. Inches, you would see 2 quotation marks. So if someone's 6 feet, they would write 6 feet and 0 inches. When we're talking volume, the liter is the base unit for volume in the metric system. They talk pints and quarts and these types of things under the imperial system. A couple of slides here just showing that the length of this guitar is 1 meter. Okay. What do you call this here? It's a meter stick because it's 1 meter. It's 100 centimeters long. In the States, they call it a yard stick because it's close to a yard. This bar of gold is 1 kilogram. So these would both be international system units under the international system or the metric system. Grams, kilograms, meters, and so on. Under the imperial system, it's not a decimal system. It's not a base 10. All right. The units look like this. For lengths, we're talking inches, feet, yards, and miles. And like I said, it's not a base 10. The numbers really don't make a whole lot of sense. Okay, there's actually a pretty good Saturday Night Live skit. Nate Bargatze kind of talks about how many feet there are in a yard and how many yards there are in a mile and these kind of things. And the numbers are just kind of obscure. It's not 100 or 1,000 or 10 or these kind of things. Does anyone know how many 12 inches, what 12 inches equals? 1 foot. Okay. So on your slides, could you fill that in if it's not already there? Anyone know what 3 feet is equal to? It's a yard. That's right. And does anyone know what this would be? 1,760 yards in a what? 1 mile. Like, see what I mean? Like, that's a bizarre number to try and remember. 1,760 yards in a mile. So each group has a particular relationship. It's not just going up by a factor of 10 or going down by a factor of 10. And when I say factor of 10, I'm talking like 10 to the first 10 or 10 squared 100 or 10 to the third 1,000 or 10 to the sixth 1,000,000. What we're going to focus on today is conversions. Now, imperial conversions, you'll be going from the imperial units to smaller imperial units or bigger imperial units. So we'll be talking feet, inches, yards, miles, for example. You can also convert within the metric system. You can convert meters to millimeters. All right? Or you could convert meters to kilometers, kilometers. You can also do conversions that are imperial to metric or metric to imperial. But the thing you have to remember is this. It's always what you want divided by what you have for your conversion factor. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay? Let's do the following. Let's convert 240. What would this mean here? What do the quotation marks indicate? Inches. So we're trying to do 240 inches. We want to convert it to feet. So here's what I mean by the want over your have. You're going to multiply that number right there, 240 inches. Okay. I want feet, so they go on top, and I have inches, they go on the bottom. So this is where we need to use the relationship. Is it 12 feet for 1 inch? Is that correct? No. What did I do? It's 1 foot for every 12 inches. Okay, or there's 12 inches in 1 foot. When I multiply this, you can multiply top by top, bottom by bottom. But what's going to happen to the inches? What's inches divided by inches? Anything divided by itself is what? It's 1, right? Anything divided by itself is 1. Those we say cancel. That was the reason why I put inches on the bottom, because I want the inches to cancel. Now I'm left with feet. And if you multiply fractions straight across, it's going to equal 240 times 1 foot. That would give you 240 feet. What's under this 240 if there's nothing written? What's understood to be there? This would be a 1 times 12. It would give me 12. Okay? And there's no units anymore. What's no units on the bottom, sorry. What's 240 divided by 12? Anyone? 20 what? 20 feet. That's it. And this is the nuts and bolts of what we're going to do today. Okay, we're changing inches to feet, yards to miles, and I have a third one for you to try. So I'll do a couple with you. The last one, part D, sorry, a fourth one for you to try. Part D will be a double conversion. So just work through these with me. I've got 36 inches, and I want to convert it to feet. So what I do for starters is I write down what I have, 36 inches. Then I write my multiplication symbol, and I'm going to set up my conversion factor. Is it have over want or want over have? Look back in your notes. For the conversion factor, it's what I want divided by what I have. The units I want go on top, and the units I have go on the bottom. I want feet. I have inches. It's the same conversion factor as the previous example. 1 foot over 12 inches. Do you agree that the inches will cancel? And if I multiply, this is going to give me 36 feet over 12. And what's 36 divided by 12? 3 feet. So 36 inches, that's actually 3 feet. That's my answer. Part B, 10 yards to feet. I want to convert yards to feet. So I start by writing down the number I have, abbreviated YDS, 10 yards. And I'm going to multiply it by, I want feet, I have yards. How many feet in a yard? There's 3. Thanks, Emmett. 3 feet in 1 yard. Do you notice the yards are going to cancel? If I multiply, it's straight across. This is going to equal 10 times 3 feet. That's 30 feet. On the bottom, it's just 1 times 1. So, like, you could write 1 times 1 is 1. Do I need to write that? No, I could just leave it as 30 feet. 30 feet divided by 1 is just 30 feet. Next question. 5,000 yards to miles. All right. I'm going to start by writing down the number I have, 5,000 yards. And I want to multiply it by, I want miles. MI is the abbreviation. And I have yards. What's the conversion factor there? Let's look at our formula sheet. What's our formula sheet say? 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. Where do I put the 1? In the numerator or the denominator? I'm looking right here on my sheet. 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. The 1 would go up next to the mile, and the 1,760 would go down with the yards. Yards are going to cancel. It's going to equal 5,000 miles divided by 1 times 1,760 is 1,760. And now I have to divide. What's 5,000 divided by 1,760? 2.8409. Let's go 4 decimal places. 2.8409 miles. That's what we have. Cool? Let's do another example. Part D, 3 yards to inches. What do I have to do in this situation? Put it to feet first and then go to inches. Now, you can do it like this. You could go 3 yards times, and then I want feet, and I have yards. How many feet in 1 yard? Anyone see it? 3 feet. So on your sheet, it says 1 yard equals 3 feet. The 1 would go here, the 3 would go here. These are going to cancel. Yes? It's just 3 times 3. That gives me 9 feet. So there's 1. Step 2, I'm going to now take 9 feet and I'm going to change that to inches. So I want inches, I have feet. What's the conversion factor here? 12 inches, 1 foot. Okay, the feet are going to cancel. What's 9 times 12? That's 90 and 18. It would be 108 inches. That's my answer. 3 yards is 108 inches. Now, you don't have to do that in 3 steps. Sorry, 2 steps. You could do it all at once. So if I want to go from yards to inches, I could start with 3 yards. And then I'll go feet over yards times, that'll leave me with feet. So I'd want to get rid of the feet and I'd have inches. Sorry. I want inches and I have feet. And then just fill these numbers in. Check it out. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. There are 12 inches in 1 foot. If I do my canceling, those are going to go away. The yards will cancel the yards and the feet will cancel the feet. 3 times 3 times 12, that's 108. And what am I left with? This unit. Inches. That's a double conversion. Let's go from, I'll do an extra example. So this will be part E. Those were all within the imperial system. Let's go metric. Let's say convert 5 meters to centimeters. So I'm going to start with 5 meters. I'm going to multiply it by, I want centimeters. I have meters. Does anyone know how many centimeters there are in a meter? There are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. These will cancel. What's 5 times 100? 500 centimeters. Let's go with, let's do one where we have to go from the smaller unit to the bigger unit. Let's say 3,000 or 30,000 meters, and we want to change that to kilometers. So I have 30,000 meters. That's what I'm starting with. I want to change it to kilometers. So I want kilometers, and I have meters. What's the relationship between kilometers and meters? There's 1,000 what? Is it 1,000 up here and 1 down here? No, it's the opposite. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Do you agree that these would go away? And you're going to end up with 30,000 times 1. That's 30,000 kilometers. And on the bottom, it's 1 times 1,000. What happens when you divide those? What's 30,000 divided by 1,000? 30 kilometers. Look at those 3 zeros would cancel. 30 divided by 1, 30 kilometers. Fair? So remember, the international system or the metric system uses a base of 10. So the numbers are nice to work with. You're always working with like 10, 100, or 1,000, or 10,000, or 100,000, or 1,000,000. Let's do an example where we convert from, let's go imperial to metric. So let's say we have 7 miles. 7 miles, and I want to go to kilometers, kilometers. So here's what I would do. I would write down 7 miles. I'd multiply it by. Do the miles go on top? Does it look like this? Yes or no? No, why not? I want the miles to cancel, so I need to put the miles on the bottom and the kilometers on the top. Now look at your formula sheet. Where do you see this conversion factor? It's right here. 1 mile is equal to 1.6093 kilometers. So the 1 would go down here, the 1.6093 would go here. Miles cancel. And what is 7 times 1.6093? It's equal to 11.2651. And what would the units be on this? Kilometers. Do I need to write over 1? No. Okay, dividing by 1 changes nothing. Let's try one more. Let's start in the metric. So let's say we have meters. Let's go meters to feet. Let's go 67 meters. And we want to change that to feet. So we're going to start with this number. I want feet. I have meters. Look in that same box. That middle box at the top of your page. That's where you're finding the imperial to metric or metric to imperial conversions. What's it say? 1 meter is equal to what? How many feet? 1 meter equals 3.2808 feet. When you're trying to decide where to put the 3.2808, make sure you put it by the feet. That's what it says on the sheet. The meters will cancel. 67 times 3.2808 gives me 219. 219.8136, and I'd be left with feet. Okay? So remember, it's what you want divided by what you have. Cancel the units in the top and the bottom, and then multiply straight across. Sometimes I have to divide. When do I have to divide? If there's like 1,000 in the bottom. If it's not a 1 in the bottom, then you're going to have to divide. Okay, what's the difference between these two numbers right here? Like it looks the same, 4.5, and this looks like 4.5. That's right. Notice this right here. Okay, so this is 4 feet and 1/2 inches. This right here is just straight up inches. It's just 4.5 inches. Which one's bigger? Second one, 4 feet, that's 48 inches and another 1/2 inch. It's like 48.5 inches. This is just 4.5 inches. So this one's significantly bigger. If I wanted to convert this to inches, start with that. Okay? Start with the 4 feet and change it to inches. You're going to start with this number. You'll multiply it by the conversion factor. What goes on top? Inches or feet? Inches. That's what I want. I have feet. And remember the conversion factor. 12 inches in 1 foot. The feet cancel. 4 12s are 48. That gives me 48 inches. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 inch. You could write it as 48 1/2 inches. This would be fine. You could write it as 48.5 inches. This would be fine. Some people might change that from a mixed number to an improper fraction. How do you do that? 48 1/2. You go 2 times 48, 96, plus 1, 97/2 inches. Fair? All right, I think that's it. You can go to work on the sheet that I gave you. And if you have any questions, let